We are Blockbuster.
Oh yeah, let's crack a cold one with the boys. What's up, gender-neutral soy people? It's the resident thick boy on campus here to drop another hot, steamy load of knowledge on you from the dark depths of millennial nostalgia. Today's topic, Blockbuster. Getting right into it today, boys. It's 1978, and a guy called David Cook is an inventor. He creates this company called Cook Data Services for the oil industry, and it goes tits up. His wife, Sally, wants to get into the video industry, possibly with tits, probably up. After his failed business, Sally convinces Dave to chase her dream, and they bought into a company called VideoWorks. It's a sort of prehistoric company where you could go in and you could borrow physical copies of movies for a fee. David, because he had a brain between his ears, really liked the blue and yellow color scheme. And I mean, who couldn't? Look at this. As it turns out, not everyone can accept the glory of the blue and gold color scheme, and that includes the other owners of VideoWorks. You see, Davey here, he wanted to redesign his store with the blue and gold, but the other owners they wouldn't let him do it. So Davey boy told the other owners to kick rocks, and thus the first Blockbuster was opened in 1985. As well as being the only song anyone remembers from pop-punk band Bowling for Soup, 1985 was a pretty pivotal year for mankind. See, I got a list. Here's the order of my list that it's in. Films? Oh, we got films. Back to the Future, which would eventually give us Rick and Morty. Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, which was referenced in Rick and Morty. Oh, and Hey You Guys! The Goonies, which as of now has not been referenced in Rick and Morty, but give it time. Duran Duran is belting out bangers, Dire Straits is moving refrigerators, Reagan and Gorbachev met up, and scientists found holes in the ozone layers. Windows 1.0 is released, and Michael Jordan, most known for being the namesake of the second best-selling shoe of all time, went on to win the NBA Rookie of the Year, and then did nothing else of note. Oregon Trail dropped, so kids can learn about all the diseases that their parents didn't vaccinate them for. Nintendo drops the NES on us, and its magnum opus, Graham Gooch's Test Cricket. Wait, no, scratch that. Super Mario Brothers, yeah, that's the one. Getting back on track, Blockbuster offered all of that to be rented and returned within 3 days, or they'd break your fucking legs. Okay, not actually, but the late fees would make you wish that they would. Late fees, which they would later advertise that they no longer had, which was a lie, that they would later lose a lawsuit for $460 million, which is enough to pay off the national debt of New Caledonia and Cook Island, which I'm pretty sure David Cook bought and set up his global headquarters on. Okay, I'm hearing that last part's not true. Speaking of lawsuits, Nintendo actually sued Blockbuster in 1987 because Blockbuster was renting out Nintendo games that weren't actual Nintendo games. They just copied the files onto their own personal discs, and then Nintendo won that lawsuit, but then Blockbuster went to Congress, and then they got the call reversed when Congress passed the Computer Software's Rentals Amendments Act. So basically, Nintendo's been a cunt about their IP since the fucking pyramids. So what does all this mean? It means that us 90s kids used to have some fucking ragers at the Blue and Gold on Friday nights. Hey Scott, you want to go to Blockbuster and rent WWE Day of Reckoning for the GameCube? Oh boy, do I! When you walked through those doors and the smell of plastic fumes hit you, time stood still. As you walked the aisles, passing thousands of garbage movies on the way to the back wall, a wave of anxiety comes over you as you start to realize the last double VCR box set of Titanic, it wasn't returned on time. So instead you grabbed a copy of American Pie, which starred a guy named Eddie K. Thomas, who was also in a Blockbuster commercial advertising the VCR release of Titanic, and holy shit, I am good at this! But that's not gonna last all night. Eventually you are gonna get tired of rewinding the VCR to rewatch Shannon Elizabeth getting naked. You're gonna want to play with something other than yourself. So you mosey on over to the games aisle. What will we get this time? NBA Jam? No. Smash? No, we got that last week. Glover? Nah. Donkey Kong 64? And then you see it. Like a beacon from the heavens telling you that your choices are not your own. You are merely a vessel for a divine being. And your life is playing out exactly as they planned. Mario Kart 64. You grab the box and run to the front counter, pleading with your mom. Mom, please, can I have some Butterfinger BBs? Please, I promise I won't even eat them all tonight. You both know it's a lie. But she relents. As the acne-ridden teenager working behind the counter hands you the bag, you sprint out those doors, waiting for your mom, who seems to be moving almost a little too slowly. And as the doors close, you hear those 3 magical words, almost as if from a memory. Be kind. Rewind. Sadly, these days would not last forever. In the year 2000, Blockbuster turned down the opportunity to buy a little rinky-dink mail-and-return video service. Maybe you've heard of them, Netflix, for $100 million. And as we all know, Netflix would go on to become one of the largest names in home entertainment, and Blockbuster would eventually die off. At their peak in 2004, Blockbuster employed over 84,000 employees in over 14 countries, including Brazil, Norway, I can't think of a funny thing to do, but Peru, and Hong Kong. Might want to cross off vacation to China from my bucket list. In 2010, they were down to 25,000 employees. They filed for bankruptcy. And today, in 2020, they're completely gone, with the exception of one last Blockbuster in a city called Bend, Oregon, with 3 employees, aptly named The Last Blockbuster. Memories of Friday nights at Blockbuster, titular line, will be a warm spot in the soul of a generation. Blockbuster was a cultural phenomenon that succumbed to a changing market that they just couldn't keep up with. My personal Blockbuster was abandoned for 8 years. It was empty so long that when they painted over the old Blockbuster sign, before somebody else moved in and turned it into office space, the actual Blockbuster sign started to come through again. Blockbuster is a forgotten memory of a simpler time. A time where we didn't have YouTube in our pockets. A time where a sleepover was over way too soon, and a trip shopping was less like a root canal and more like quality time. Blockbuster will live on inside the hearts of a generation, the buttons on your Roku, and in period movies for the rest of time. Thank you, Blockbuster, for the memories. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, be kind, and rewind.